Hi, I'm Arlith. You know that feeling when something isn't right? That's how it started with my mother-in-law, Diana. She was always hovering. Arlith, darling, Diana cooed as she rearranged the nursery items for the third time that week. I just think the crib would be better by the window. Don't you agree, Marcus? My husband shrugged, glancing at me apologetically. Mom's got experience with these things, Arlie. I rubbed my swollen belly, 8 months pregnant and exhausted. I'd prefer it away from drafts, actually. Diana's smile tightened. Oh, sweetie, you've been reading those internet forums again, haven't you? I raised Marcus just fine with the crib by the window. And I caught pneumonia twice before I was 3, Marcus muttered. Which made you stronger, Diana snapped, then immediately softened. Anyway, I've taken the liberty of interviewing nannies for you. I straightened up. We discussed this. We don't want a nanny. Nonsense. You'll need help. I found a lovely woman who'll live in and… Live in? I exchanged glances with Marcus. We never discussed a live-in nanny. Marcus cleared his throat. Mom, we appreciate the thought, but… You'll thank me later, Diana interrupted. Besides, with your C-section scheduled next week, you'll need recovery time. Without family nearby, except me, you'll be grateful for the help. Something in her tone made me uneasy, but I chalked it up to pregnancy hormones. Diana, I tried again, keeping my voice level. Marcus and I have already made our childcare decisions. She waved her hand dismissively. First-time parents always think they know best. Just wait until you're sleep-deprived with a colicky baby. Mom, Marcus interjected. Arlith and I need to figure this out ourselves. Diana patted his cheek like he was still 10 years old. Of course, darling. I'm only trying to help. Someone needs to think ahead since you two are so… idealistic. The morning of my surgery arrived. Marcus kissed me as they wheeled me into the operating room. I'll be right outside, he promised. Mrs. Hadley's waiting too, added the nurse, a woman I hadn't seen before named Valerie. Diana's here already? I asked, surprised. I thought she was coming later. Valerie nodded. She insisted on being here bright and early, said she wouldn't miss her grandbaby's arrival for anything. The anesthesia made everything foggy. I remembered the baby's first cry, the overwhelming love, then being wheeled to recovery. That's when Valerie approached with papers. Just standard forms, she said, helping position the pen in my shaky hand. Hospital discharge protocols. I signed without reading, still groggy, asking about my baby. She's with family, Valerie assured me. Later that evening, my friend Jenna visited. A paralegal at a family law firm, she brought flowers and suspicious eyes. Something's off with that mother-in-law of yours, Jenna whispered, glancing toward the door. She's telling everyone she'll be the baby's primary caregiver. Said you agreed to it. I frowned. That's not true. Where's Marcus? Getting coffee with her. Listen, that nurse who keeps checking on you? I overheard her talking to Diana in the hallway. Something about papers and all legal now. My heart raced. What papers? The only thing I signed was discharge forms. Jenna's eyes widened. Show me. We requested copies from the nursing station. When they arrived, Jenna's face went pale. Arlith, she whispered, pointing to a document buried among medical forms. This isn't a hospital form. It's temporary guardianship transfer. You've signed custody of your daughter to Diana while recovering from medical trauma. What? The room spun as I stared at my signature on a document I had no memory of reading. How is this possible? Jenna squeezed my hand. I don't know, but we're going to find out. The hospital administrator, Dr. Reynolds, sat across from me in my room, reviewing the documents with a deepening frown. This is highly irregular, she said, tapping the guardianship paper. This form should never have been included in hospital paperwork, and the witness signature is from Nurse Valerie Bennett. I've never seen her before yesterday, I said. She's not assigned to maternity, Dr. Reynolds confirmed. She works in geriatric care. I'll need to investigate how she was involved in your delivery. Marcus paced the room, running hands through his hair. I don't understand. My mother wouldn't what? I interrupted. Wouldn't try to take control of our baby? That's exactly what she's been trying to do for months. You're being paranoid, he argued, but his voice lacked conviction. She's just trying to help. Help? I stared at him in disbelief. Is that what you call this? You don't understand how she is, Marcus said, his voice dropping. She's always been intense about family. After Dad died, she poured everything into raising me. That doesn't justify what she's done, I countered. I know, but... Jenna stood up. But nothing. Your mother hired a lawyer. My boss called to tell me Diana Hadley retained him this morning to formalize a custody arrangement for your daughter. Marcus's face drained of color. That can't be right. Your loyalty is admirable, Marcus, Dr. Reynolds said gently. But these documents speak for themselves. There must be some explanation, he insisted. Dr. Reynolds cleared her throat. I've requested security footage from the recovery ward. If there was coercion, we'll find evidence. Later that afternoon, security officer Paul Torres showed us the footage. There was Diana, clearly handing something to Nurse Valerie before my surgery. After delivery, the nurse mixed the guardianship form among medical documents while I was still heavily sedated. That's... Marcus trailed off, watching his mother's familiar gestures. I can't believe this. Believe it, Paul said grimly. We've interviewed Nurse Bennett. She admitted Mrs. Hadley paid her $5,000 to slip in the guardianship papers. Why would Mom do this? Marcus whispered. Because she doesn't think I'm fit to be a mother, I answered, remembering countless subtle jabs. Remember when she joked that I'd probably forget the baby at the grocery store? Or when she set up that nursery at her house without asking us? She was just excited, Marcus defended weakly. Jenna slammed her hand on the table. Stop making excuses. Your mother committed fraud and attempted to steal your child. You don't know her like I do, Marcus shot back. She raised me alone after Dad died. Everything she does comes from love. Love doesn't manipulate, I said quietly. What she did was illegal. So what now? Marcus asked, his voice breaking. You want to send my mother to jail? I want her to face consequences for what she did, I replied. Wouldn't you if someone tried to take our daughter? He didn't answer. Dr. Reynolds nodded. We've contacted hospital counsel. The forms are invalid since you were under the influence of medication and weren't informed of what you were signing. What do we do now? I asked, looking at Jenna. She pulled out her phone. I'm calling my friend at the district attorney's office. We're pressing charges. Marcus stepped back. Charges? Against my mother? Arleth, you can't... I met his eyes. Watch me. Diana burst into my hospital room the next morning, Marcus trailing behind, looking torn. What is the meaning of this? She demanded, waving a paper. I've been served with a restraining order? I sat up straighter in bed, my daughter safely in the hospital nursery. Exactly what it looks like. You're not allowed near me or the baby. This is ridiculous. I'm her grandmother. And I'm her mother, I countered. The mother you tried to legally bypass while I was unconscious? Diana's expression shifted to wounded innocence. I was only trying to help. You're a first-time mother. You don't know what you're doing. And paying a nurse to trick me into signing away my rights was helping? My voice remained steady despite my rage. You're twisting everything, Diana insisted, looking to Marcus. Tell her, honey. Tell her I was just trying to make things easier. Marcus looked at the floor. Mom, the security footage shows you paying the nurse. Diana blanched. That was just a thank you for taking special care of Arleth. $5,000? I asked incredulously. That's quite a tip. You ungrateful little... Diana caught herself. After everything I've done for you both. I opened my home when you first married. I've bought everything for the nursery. I've been nothing but supportive. Supportive people don't undermine new parents, I said. They don't try to make medical decisions without permission. They don't try to move into someone's house uninvited. Marcus wanted me there, Diana insisted. I turned to my husband. Did you? Marcus fidgeted. I thought it might be helpful to have Mom around at first, but I never discussed a live-in arrangement. You see? Diana smiled triumphantly. He knows you need guidance. What I need is for you to respect boundaries, I replied. Boundaries? Diana scoffed. Family doesn't have boundaries. We take care of each other. By stealing my child? I wasn't stealing. I was safeguarding. There's a difference. Not legally, I responded coldly. Not morally. Dr. Reynolds entered with a police officer. Mrs. Hadley, the officer said, I need to ask you some questions about your involvement with Nurse Bennett. Diana's face contorted. This is absurd. I'm a respected member of the community. You have no right. We have signed testimony from Nurse Bennett, the officer interrupted, and security footage. Diana turned to Marcus, grabbing his arm. You can't let them do this to me. I'm your mother. And Arlith is my wife, Marcus said quietly. The mother of my child. That child would be better off with me, Diana shouted, mask finally slipping. She doesn't know what she's doing. She'll ruin that baby just like her own mother ruined her. The room went silent. I'd shared with Diana in confidence painful stories about my mother's neglect. Get out, I whispered. Arlith, I didn't mean... Get out, I screamed. You planned this all along. You never thought I deserved to be a mother. Diana's face hardened. If you pursue this, I'll make sure everyone knows about your family history. Mental illness runs deep, doesn't it? I wonder if social services would be interested. Marcus stepped between us. Stop it, Mom. That's enough. You'll regret this, Diana hissed, as the officer led her toward the door. Both of you. I have friends in this town. This isn't over. The courtroom was intimidatingly formal as I sat beside our attorney, Sarah Patel. Marcus sat behind me, having moved into the guest room at home. Not taking sides, he claimed, though his absence beside me spoke volumes. All rise, called the bailiff. Judge Michaels entered, reviewing the case before him. Charges against Diana Hadley for fraud and against Nurse Bennett for professional misconduct and conspiracy. Diana's attorney spoke first. Your Honor, my client acted out of concern for her grandchild. Mrs. Arlith Hadley has a family history of... Objection, Sarah interrupted. Mrs. Hadley's family history is irrelevant and constitutes character assassination. Sustained, Judge Michaels ruled. Stick to the facts of this case, Counselor. The hospital's attorney presented the security footage and Nurse Bennett's testimony. When Diana took the stand, she portrayed herself as a concerned grandmother. I only wanted what was best for the baby, she insisted tearfully. Arlith was so overwhelmed. I thought temporary guardianship would give her time to recover properly. Yet you didn't discuss this plan with either parent, Sarah countered during cross-examination. Instead, you paid a nurse to slip legal documents into medical paperwork while my client was sedated. Is that correct? Diana's composure cracked. She would have refused if I'd asked directly. She's stubborn and inexperienced. So you admit you deliberately circumvented her parental authority? I was trying to protect my granddaughter. From her own mother? Sarah pressed. You don't understand Arlith's background, Diana said, voice shaking with righteous indignation. If you knew what I know... Mrs. Hadley, Judge Michaels interrupted, you're not answering the question. Did you pay Nurse Bennett to include guardianship papers without the parents' knowledge? Diana's shoulders slumped slightly. Yes, but... And were you aware that obtaining signatures under such circumstances constitutes fraud? It wasn't fraud. It was protection. When my turn came to testify, Diana's attorney tried to paint me as unstable. Mrs. Hadley, isn't it true that you've expressed doubts about your ability to mother? Objection, Sarah called. Counsel is badgering the witness. I'll rephrase, Diana's attorney said smoothly. Mrs. Hadley, have you ever discussed your own mother's parenting with my client? I straightened my spine. In confidence, yes. As one does with family they believe they can trust. And what did you share? That my mother struggled with addiction, I answered honestly. That I was determined to break that cycle. That I've worked hard to create a stable life and loving home for my child. The judge found Diana guilty of fraud and issued a permanent restraining order preventing her from contacting me or the baby. Nurse Bennett lost her license and received probation. Afterward, Diana approached me in the courthouse hallway, ignoring the restraining order immediately. "Arleth, please," she begged, Marcus hovering uncertainly nearby. "I made a terrible mistake. I was wrong. Can we start over? I just want to know my granddaughter." I looked at her perfectly composed face, the calculated tears, the hands reaching toward me in practiced supplication. "No," I said simply. "I'm her grandmother." "You're a woman who tried to steal my child," I corrected. "The restraining order is clear. Stay away from us." Marcus stepped forward. "Arleth, maybe we could—" "There's no we in this decision, Marcus. Your mother tried to take our daughter. She threatened to call social services based on private information I shared in confidence." "People make mistakes," he pleaded. "She's still family." "Family doesn't do what she did," I replied firmly. "And if you can't see that, we have bigger problems than I thought." Diana grabbed my arm. "You can't keep my granddaughter from me." The bailiff intervened, pulling Diana back. "Ma'am, you're violating a court order." As Diana was escorted away, shouting about rights and family, Marcus looked torn. "What happens now?" he asked quietly. "That depends on you," I answered honestly. "Where do your loyalties lie?" Later that evening, Jenna and Dr. Reynolds joined us for dinner at our home. My daughter slept peacefully in her bassinet, the one I had chosen, positioned where I wanted it. "The hospital board reviewed our procedures," Dr. Reynolds explained. "We're implementing new protocols for document signing post-anesthesia." "Your case might help others," Jenna added. "The DA thinks it could set precedent for family coercion cases." "I filed for separation today," I told them, watching Marcus's head snap up from across the room. "Arleth," he exclaimed. "We never discussed—" "Just like you never discussed having your mother move in," I countered. "Or how you're still taking her calls despite the restraining order?" He had the grace to look ashamed. "I love you, Marcus," I said, more gently. "But I need a partner who puts our family first, not someone caught between his wife and his mother." "She's all I had growing up," he said quietly. "And now you have us," I replied, gesturing to our daughter. "If you can choose us. I don't know if I can cut her off completely." "I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to respect the boundaries the court set for our daughter's safety." "And if I can't?" "Then we'll co-parent separately," I answered truthfully. "I don't know if our marriage will survive this," I continued. "But I do know my daughter will grow up understanding that her mother fought for her, that I refused to let anyone, no matter who they were, make me feel incapable of being her mom." Jenna raised her glass. "To standing your ground." Dr. Reynolds smiled. "And to new beginnings." As we toasted, my phone chimed with a text from Marcus's sister. "Just heard what Mom did. I'm so sorry. Need anything?" I showed the others. "Looks like not everyone in the family thinks Diana was right." "Melissa always saw through Mom's behavior," Marcus admitted. "I should have listened to her warnings years ago." "What will you do now?" Jenna asked. I looked at my sleeping daughter, perfect and safe. "Live our lives," I answered. "On our terms. No one else's." "Maybe," Marcus said hesitantly, reaching for my hand. "Our terms could still include both of us?" "I'll go to counseling. I'll respect the restraining order. Just don't give up on us yet." I didn't pull away. One day at a time. Have you ever had someone underestimate you, only to regret it later? Share your story in the comments below.